Good morning to everyone. I'm very happy to be able to participate for the first time, even though remotely, to participate in Biogas Italy. I wish to thank the Biogas Consortium for inviting me. We have been cooperating in Italy and also with different associations at the national level, but we also participate in the Gas for Climate Consortium. We are working together very effectively to promote the biomethane chain. In Snam, we say that biomethane is the renewable energy source that is most noble of all, because you can store it, it's flexible, you can use it when you need it, unlike the other renewables, but also because it fully expresses the notion of circular economy. It allows you to use waste, animal waste, agricultural byproducts in full synergy with the farming sector. The production of biomethane contributes in a virtuous way to the growth of all the territories involved by giving an added value to the energy sector, but also to the entire chain. And together with the CIB, we support the fact that the contribution of renewable gases starting from biomethane and also hydrogen in future is going to be essential to obtain sustainable electricity and to achieve zero emissions by 2050. And you know that Europe and Italy, and let's hope also COP26 and many other countries in the world, have all been committed themselves to reaching this goal of zero waste. And Italy wants also to set an example, just as Europe. And we have to continue to be leaders at climate level, which doesn't mean that we have excessively high costs, but precisely thanks to renewable gases, we can even think of reducing in the future our bills to reduce social costs, the social costs of the green transition. The consortium Gas for Climate at European level thinks that in 2050, 215 billion euros may be saved thanks to the use of renewable gases versus a scenario in which there is an increasing electrification. So all this money, of course, would be saved on energy bills. So now this contribution by renewable gases, so biomethane and hydrogen, are included in all scenarios, European scenarios, Italian scenario. The NRP gives great importance to biomethane, especially that coming from the agricultural sector. There are 2 billion euros of incentives that have been set aside and 5 billion investments that we will be able to make as industry by 2026. So the plan is very well balanced, I think, between incentives to create new plants and also to upgrade current ones. So of course, we need to insert the guarantees of origin for the gas that is put in the grid, injected into the grid. We have also to broaden the sectors in which this gas is utilized, because transportation is too small as a sector. So our goal is to convert to biomethane also farming machinery, and overall we can think of exceeding 5 billion, getting to 5.5 billion cubic meters of renewable gas by 2030. And so our goal is to reach a production capable of covering 1/4 of the national demand. So we are really at a turning point. This program of investments that is so massive and widespread, and which is going to be affected in a short period of time by 2026, will allow Italy to reduce emissions very significantly compared with fossil methane. Biomethane can reduce emissions by 85% and can also increase the competitiveness of the farming sector and also reduce its environmental impact. So thanks to current emissions in the farming sector is 10%, and thanks to biomethane, this 10% can be reduced significantly. So we have to implement very quickly the plans that many of us have already developed, but we need to implement this, and to do that, we need to remove the obstacles that do not allow this sector to bloom and so prevent us to reach our full potential. The trend is more favorable today. It's more in favor of fossil methane, even though biomethane has a much higher potential. And the most important things to do now is to work on the plans promoting the reconversion to biomethane of 1,700 plants, but we need to cut red tape, particularly in the case of small plants, in order to connect them to our grid. And this streamlining and this conversion could contribute in a very significant way to the ambitious goals we have set ourselves. The second thing that we must do is to extend, as I was saying, the use of biomethane to sectors other than transport. We have to use it for instance, heating, cooling in residential areas and in the industrial sector, so not limited to be used in the transportation sector. In this sense, Snam wants to act as a facilitator, and our role consists precisely in promoting the growth of this sector and the development of the entire chain. How do we do that? We do that in three different ways, and the first consists in making available our grid, which is quickly becoming no longer a grid just based on fossil fuels, but an all-round energy grid that can look to the future. By 2050, we have committed to transporting on our grid only hydrogen or biomethane, so renewable sources. Today, 30 biomethane plants are connected to the grid, and as we said, there are 1,700 biogas plants that can in part be converted. And we know that 9% of biomethane today may, by 2030, the speaker apologizes, 9% of the methane on the grid will be biomethane by 2030. So this amount is going to increase by 2050, and 20% will be made up by biofuels. Thanks to biomethane, the farming sector will represent a very important player in connecting the production and consumption of biogas. So we are opening up on our grid and we are making it available. Moreover, we are promoting the development of biomethane in transportation. This is the most important sector. We are creating bio LNG stations. There are 1,500 biogas stations in Italy. They are increasing in terms of number. 1/3 of the natural gas used in the transportation sector is biomethane, and in the States, many cars and lorries are starting to use RNG. We also have some technologies for liquefaction purposes at Snam, and this would be very interesting to bring liquid natural gas to be used, for instance, also in the maritime sector, on ships, etc. Of course, we have to work at the European level so that biomethane is more widely recognized in terms of its role in transportation, because this sector has not really been granted the necessary attention. So in Brussels, we need a greater commitment to really show how important biofuels can reduce CO2 emissions in the transport field. Through Snam for Environment and its companies and its initiatives, Snam is also trying to work and contributing to producing, creating and managing new plants that use waste, biomass and agricultural waste. And here too we want to introduce innovation, introduce new technologies and connect innovation and tradition. We want to create here a virtuous model that can integrate the industries, technology and agriculture. By way of conclusion, at the moment, we are at a turning point, and this is quite evident for everyone. It's for everyone to see, and the work carried out by CIB was very important indeed, just as it is the case for the Italian farming sector, and thanks to their associations and thanks to the NRRP, their conditions have been set to allow for the development of our biomethane sector. We have to remove the obstacles that we met so far, and we have to try to turn Italy into a European leader in this sector, which is so virtuous in terms of energy production and contribution to renewables, and also in terms, most important, most importantly for the agricultural sector. So if we focus on biomethane, we can be more ambitious in reaching our environmental goals, creating new opportunities, job opportunities. And Snam is ready to play its role in order to promote this by cooperating in a virtuous way to the entire farming sector. Thank you for your attention.